Today we're going to be discussing simple interest. We're going to use the percent proportion like we have been and cross multiply, divide to find our ratios. However, for simple interest, there's one extra step that we're going to take. So first, the most important thing we need to figure out is what is interest. And interest is simply an amount of money and you can either earn interest like in a savings account or an investment, or you can pay interest like in a loan. So as you can see, the formula is still the part over the whole equals the percent over 100. However, the part and the whole for simple interest have specific names. The part in this case is what we're going to be looking for. It's the interest. And words that you'll see when you need to find the interest are things like paid or earned. So that's the amount of money that's either going to be paid or earned. Paid in an investment or paid in a loan or earned in an investment. The whole in this case is going to be the principal. And the principal is also an amount of money. However, the principal is the amount that is borrowed or invested. So if you had $100 to invest in the stock market, the $100 would be considered your principal. Or if you need to borrow $2,000 to buy a used car, that $2,000 is the principal. So the first example says, find the simple interest for $2,000 invested at 5.5% for 4 years. So let's identify all of the pieces and then we'll place them into the percent proportion. So the principal is going to be the money, the amount that was borrowed, which is $2,000. The rate is the interest rate or the percent, which is 5.5%, and the amount of time is 4 years. So we're going to go ahead and plug this into the proportion. We don't know the interest, but we know that the principal is $2,000. We also know that the rate is 5.5%, and we'll put that over 100. And when we cross multiply and divide, we get 100x equals 11,000 divided by 100 will give us an interest of $110. However, that's the interest for 1 year. And in the problem, we have invested $2,000 for 4 years. So we're going to take that interest and we're going to multiply it by 4. So in 4 years, we would have earned $440. Another example that you might see is if you have trying to find simple interest for an investment. However, the time is not in years, it's in months. And so a big piece of information that you need to remember is that there are 12 months in 1 year. So we always have to convert our months to years. And in this case, it says that we've made a $1,000 investment at 6.2% for 9 months. So in order to change my months to years, I'll just take my months and divide it by 12. And 9/12 is equivalent to 3/4 of a year, or 0.75. Now I'm going to use my percent proportion. So my principal is $1,000. My rate is 6.2, so I'll put 6.2 over 100. And cross multiply 100x equals 6,200. And then divide by 100. And we'll get an interest of $62. Remember, $62 would be the interest earned if it were invested for a whole year, but it's not. It's only invested for 3/4 of a year. So we're going to take 62 and multiply by 0.75, and we get an interest earned of $46.50. The next problem that you're going to see is we need to find the total dollar amount of where $80 is invested at 6% for 6 months. Now, the total dollar amount, let's circle that, means that at the end, we're going to have to add in to see how much do we have in our account. So let's go ahead. We'll start out the same way. We're going to change months to years. So we'll do 6 out of 12, which many of you know is half of a year. We'll plug into the percent proportion. Our principal is $80. Our rate is 6% over 100. And when we cross multiply and divide, we should get an interest of $4.80. Now, we have to multiply it by our time. So that's going to be $4.80 times 0.5, or half of a year, which gives us $2.40. So step 3, we're going to have to write in, or I'm sorry, step 4. Let's write it in. We're going to add. We're going to add our principal, and we're going to add our interest to see how much we have in our account. So we're going to do $80 plus $2.40 for a total of $82.40. So that's how much money we have in our account right now. The last problem, we are looking for something different. In all of the other problems, we were looking for the interest rate. However, we were actually looking for the interest. This time, we don't know what our interest rate is, our percent, so we're going to have to figure that out. It says Ashley borrowed $4,500 from her bank for home improvements. She will repay the loan by paying $120 a month for the next 4 years. Find the simple interest rate of the loan. So, the first thing we need to figure out is, okay, how much is she going to be paying the bank back? Okay, so the way to do that is to multiply how much she's paying, which is $120, by the total number of months she's going to be paying that back. So since it's 12 months per year, and she's paying that back over the next 4 years, that's going to give us a total of 48 months. So we'll have to multiply 128 times 48, which gives us $5,760. So as you can see, she's paying her principal plus all of the interest. So now we want to figure out, okay, so how much of that $5,760 is just the interest? So we're going to take 5,760, and I'm going to take out the principal, which is $4,500. And when I subtract those two, I get $1,260. So that's how much she is paying in interest. Now, once I know the amount of the interest and I know the amount of her principal, I can compare those two and calculate the rate. So now I get to use my percent proportion. So I'm going to type in this time the interest, or 26 or 1260, all over 57. I'm sorry, all over the principal, which is 4,500. And we don't know the rate, but we know that all percents are out of 100. And then we'll cross multiply and divide, and her interest rate is 28%.